tantangan tersendiri bagi perguruan tinggi dalam melahirkan tenaga ahli yang kompeten. Universitas Padjadjaran, salah satu perguruan tinggi di Jawa Barat, hadir menjawab tantangan tersebut dengan mendirikan Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan. Universitas Padjadjaran, salah satu perguruan tinggi di Jawa Barat, hadir menjawab tantangan tersebut dengan mendirikan Ilmu Kelautan. Universitas Padjadjaran, salah satu
Sejak tahun 1965, Universitas Padjadjaran telah menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi dalam bidang ilmu perikanan. Kemudian pada tanggal 7 Juli 2005, melalui surat keputusan Rektor, berdiri Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan Universitas Padjadjaran. Berdirinya fakultas ini merupakan respon dari keinginan masyarakat, khususnya masyarakat Jawa Barat, untuk dapat menghasilkan tenaga ahli atau sumber daya manusia yang kompeten yang dapat mengelola sumber daya laut dan perikanan. Saat ini kami diberi amanah untuk menjadi pengelola di Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan Universitas Padjadjaran. Menghadapi revolusi industri 4.0 dengan tantangan yang semakin besar, institusi pendidikan dewasa ini dituntut untuk memiliki kegesitan dan fleksibilitas. Kami berkomitmen untuk menjadikan fakultas ini menjadi fakultas yang unggul dan berdaya saing internasional. Kami akan berusaha untuk menghasilkan para lulusan yang memiliki skills abad 21, para lulusan yang mampu berkomunikasi secara global, para lulusan yang memiliki karakter yang jujur dan berintegritas, para lulusan yang mudah bekerja sama, para lulusan yang memiliki etos kerja yang tinggi, serta para lulusan yang mudah beradaptasi. Dengan kurikulum transformatif, kami yakin dapat menghasilkan para sarjana yang mampu menjadi pemimpin global masa depan dalam bidang perikanan dan kelautan.
Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan Universitas Padjadjaran membuka 4 program sarjana dan 2 program magister. Untuk program sarjana, ada program studi perikanan, program studi ilmu kelautan, dan program studi perikanan kelas Pangandaran. Untuk program sarjana terapan, ada program studi pariwisata bahari. Dan untuk program magister, ada magister konservasi laut dan magister ilmu perikanan.
Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for sparing your time to be here with us. Happy to be your master of ceremony today. My name is Dian Hanisa Januaristi and I will be guiding you for today's first lecture of even semester 2021 and 2022. How's everyone been doing? I hope everyone is doing well. Even though we're still stuck in between screens, it seems like all of you still enthusiastic in wanting to expand your knowledge and insight by participating on today's lecture. Before we start today's agenda, I would like to ask all the participants to change their name to the format that will be sent on the chat, which is institution_name, and stay with the name throughout the webinar. All participants are expected to turn on their camera and use the background that has already been provided throughout the webinar. Also, please be prepared for network condition and all audio or mic are on mute so that the webinar runs smoothly. The last, don't forget to make a resume from the material that will be given today and the screenshot of yourself in the Zoom to be submitted on the absence link at the end of the lecture. Sebelum itu, para peserta selama webinar berlangsung partisipan dapat mengikuti format nama yang sudah tersedia di dalam kolom chat, yaitu instansi _ nama. Seluruh peserta diharapkan untuk menyalakan kamera dan memasang background yang sudah disediakan panitia selama webinar berlangsung. Diharapkan juga untuk mempersiapkan kondisi jaringan, menyalakan audio, dan dalam keadaan mute, agar webinar berjalan dengan kondusif. Kepada seluruh mahasiswa, diharapkan mencatat dan membuat resume dari materi yang akan diberikan, serta meng-screenshot dirinya untuk dikumpulkan pada absensi nanti. First of all, let us give thanks to God Almighty for His permission during the day. We can do the face-to-face online in activities of the first lecture, second semester 2021-2022 in the International Lecture Series with the theme Fish and Fishery Products, Waste and Utilization for Products Development, with the amazing speaker, Assistant Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai, Ph.D. from Chiang University, Thailand. We sincerely hope that the participants enjoy this webinar from the beginning to end well. Moving on the next agenda, our greetings from the Vice Dean for Learning, Student Affairs and Research Faculty for Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Universitas Padjadjaran, Indonesia. Dr. Insinyur Rita Rustika MP, the time and screen is yours.
Hello, good morning everyone.
Good morning.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome everyone to the first lecture of second semester 2021 and 22 organized by Faculty Fisheries and Marine Science Universitas Padjadjaran. The Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries encourages research aimed at optimizing the utilization of fisheries products which are abundant commodities in Indonesian waters. Therefore, the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science conduct collaboration program with other universities to help realize the mission and increase scientific publication and research collaboration. Today's lecture is held to prepare and increase the knowledge of FPIK Unpad students about the utilization of fisheries waste and to give them spirit to start the even semester of the school years 2021-2022. We are also trying to improve the educational atmosphere at FPIK Unpad to have better reach and international level. Finally, let me wish you enjoy your time during the lecture, and officially I open first lecture, which will be delivered by Associate Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai, Ph.D. from the Division of Product Development, Technology and Cluster of Innovation, Food and Agro-Industry, Faculty of Agro-Industry of Chiang University, Thailand. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the greetings, Dr. Insinyur Rita Rustika MP. Hope you will stay healthy and have a great day. Good morning and welcome everyone. Okay, first of all, I would like to remind all the participants to turn on the camera before going into the main agenda. Before starting the presentation, let me introduce the moderator. We will lead the presentation along with the presenter by reading the CV. I would like to ask for the operator to share the screen. The following is the CV of the moderator. We will lead the session with the speaker. In this webinar, the moderator will be Gary Renaldi, SPI, MNC, who is a principal researcher at Food Science Technology at Chiang University, Thailand. This is the CV of our moderator for today, Mr. Gary Renaldi, SPI, SC. His title is Principal Researcher at Food Science Technology at Chiang University, Thailand, and his expertise in food science and technology, product development, sensory evaluation, consumer science. That was the CV from our moderator, who is very expressive and surely inspires us all. To Mr. Gary, as today's webinar moderator, time and screen is yours.
All right, thank you, Ms. Dian. Good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Gary Renaldi, an alumnus from the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Universitas Padjadjaran, Indonesia. Today, I will be the moderator for the first lecture of the second semester for the academic year 2021/2022, Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Universitas Padjadjaran. This lecture is integrated with the Product Development Technology course taught by Mrs. Evi Liviawati and team from the Fisheries Product Technology that also present in this lecture. Professor Junianto, Dr. Emma, Mr. Ruski, Mrs. Liis, and Ms. Aulia. In this first lecture, we are honored to have a guest lecturer from Thailand, also known as the Land of the Smiles, Assistant Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai Ph.D. Sawadika Bacaan Rajnibhas. Before proceeding to the lecture, I would like to briefly read the CV of our guest lecturer. Assistant Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai Ph.D. He finished his degrees, including Doctor of Philosophy's degree in Chiang Mai University, Chiang Mai, Thailand. Now he is affiliated with the Division of Product Development Technology and Cluster of Innovation, Food and Agro-Industry, Chiang Mai University, Chiang Mai, Thailand. His field of interests and current researches are in the field of food product development technology and experimental design, sensory evaluation principle, also gas chromatography, aroma and flavor, also encapsulation and controlled release technology. Throughout the year, our guest lecturer has been appointed in various research projects. He also actively published research articles in credible journals, with the recent articles were published in a quartile 1 and 2 journals in food science. Our guest lecturer also took part in various conferences throughout the world. Before we start the lecture, I would like to inform our guest lecturer and all participants that the presentation, including the Q&A session in the end of the presentation, will be 1 hour and 40 minutes. Please open your camera throughout the lecture and address the question for our guest lecturer, either using Bahasa or English, by writing your question in the message box below, or by raising your hand and open your microphone during the Q&A session when allowed. I also would like to remind and suggest the student to take notes on the presentation, as you have to write a resume of the lecture and provide it with a screenshot image of your attendance at the attendance link by the end of the lecture. Without further ado, let us welcome Assistant Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai Ph.D.
Hello, everyone. You guys hear me, right? So as I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai. Actually, it's a very long name. You can call me Dew, D-E-W, if that's okay with you guys. So as Mr. Gary introduced me, I am currently work under Chiang Mai University in the division of product development technology. I mean, recently I just moved from Prince of Songkla University. So that should be enough for introducing. For the topic that we will talk about today, it will be about some of the fish and fishery product, but in the sense of waste and its utilization for the product development. Let me show you the slide. Just a minute here. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. Okay. So should we start, right? Then actually, let me introduce some of the overview first. Then for the fish and fishery product, we will get that from the water, right? Then when we see the geography of Earth and its water, actually all the product come from water. So we can see here, all the Earth's water include the fresh liquid water, the water in the lakes and the river, almost 71% of the Earth. So everything that we consume, like for the fish and the fishery, mostly when it comes from the water, it's about like 70 to 90%. As you can see here, even though the water ratio compared to the earth and the air, it's very small, likely here, as you can see here. But the ratio, I mean, the percentage of the fish and fishery product is still a lot. And also the estimation of the life on Earth that we found under the ocean surface here, it's around like 50 to 80% contain the 99% of the living space on the planet. So I think it means a lot already, but only like 10% that explored by human. And still, there is like 85% and 90% that we still in the deep sea. Well, actually, so we can assume that the fishery and aquaculture sector is still significantly that we didn't explore a lot. But anyway, it's still expanding in the past decade. I mean, for the total production, for the trade and the consumption. So as you can see here, I have some data, but it's up until the 2018. You can see here the rise of the global capture is up to 17%. The rise of the global aquaculture production, you can see here up to like 500%. And also the rise of the total fish consumption, it still rise to like 122%. So everything is on the rise. Okay, and for the capture of the inland water, marine water, and aquaculture here, you can see from like 1950 here up to like 2018, everything is increasing for the capture fishery here. The inland water is not a lot, but the marine water, you can see here, it's kind of up here. For the aquaculture, it's also up higher than the inland water. So this suggests that the production of the fishery and the aquaculture is still rising. And for the utilization and consumption, so we have a lot of the fish and fishery product. It's on the rise already. Anyway, people still consume the rate of consumption is still increasing, as you can see here. For the population, as you may know, the population, it's still, even though we going on the elderly age, the population is still increasing, and also it can cause the consumption to be increased. Well, if we consume a lot, then there is some that we do not consume then. the rate of the increasing of the consumption can cause the thing that we do not consume to increase also. And we'll be back to this. And why do we consume the fish and fishery product? As you may know, it provides you the food and nutritional security around the world. And the consumption, it offers the unique nutritional, the health benefits, and it's the key of the element in the healthy diet. But increase the attention in the gift to the fish and the fishery product, it's the source of the essential nutrient in diets. Not only the high value protein, then we can get like the source of micronutrient as long as the chain and the long chain omega fatty acids. And how about the waste that we don't eat? There is a lot of the waste, or we can also call the seafood discards that we don't eat. Or some of the country, we eat that too. I mean, in Thailand, we eat some of these, but usually that we don't eat this, right? The shell here. The skin, some of the country we eat, right? Scale, I don't think that we eat that. Bones, the fin, the eye, the head here. Some of the country we don't consider as the waste that we consume that. Intestine, in Thailand, we still eat that too, but in the sense that we can include that in the seafood discard. And also the low value underutilized fish, like the very, very small fish or the younger fish. Some of the country, they consider that as the waste. And the last one, the effluents, is the wastewater from the fish and fishery production. So those that we can consider like the waste and the seafood discard. But how do we do with that? But actually, the major component of these seafood discard, we can analyze into the nutrients that we can see here. There is a lot of the nutrient that we can consider, like we cannot like throw away of these, such as that we have like very high protein here, right? We have very high percentage of fat. Also the ash here, which is considered the mineral. Also we have the calcium. So in the sense, from the major component from the seafood processing discard, then that we should do some application, or we should use that instead of throw away. Well, for that, in the conventional process, actually we, in the past, we also do the extraction. The thing that do the conventional process, we use the alkali, or we can use the strong acid to extract everything that we need. Like I speak before, the protein, the polysaccharide, or like the fatty acid from those seafood discard, so that we can get like the nutrient that we need. Usually that we use the process only the chemical and the physical method. But anyway, it will cause several limitations such as it can cause the bad influence to the environment since we use the strong alkali and strong acid here. Also, when we extract the fish oil here, when we use the traditional solvent extract, it can cause the oxidation, which is come from the degumming process, the neutralization process, the washing, the drying, the bleaching, and the deodorization. All of these can cause the oxidation. So what is the oxidation? The disadvantage. All of these can provide, it can exhibit the off flavor and the loss of nutrient in the fat containing in food. And it also can cause the mutagenic, carcinogenic, and cytotoxin property, which can cause the tumor cell in the human. So that is kind of downside of the traditional extraction. So then we can have the bioconversion to give some of the extraction or the conversion in the healthy way to the environment. Usually we can do by the microorganism, or we can use the enzyme here. We can do both of them, which is good for the environment. As the table I can show you here, you can see this the bioconversion of the seafood processing discussed by the microorganism. You can see here, there is a lot of the discard here, right here. We can use the shell, the head, the waste, the fish waste, the squid pen, everything here, we can use the bioconversion using the microorganism right here, and to create or extract the product such as the chitin, antioxidant, the oil, the lipase, something like this, which is come from the bioconversion using the microorganism. And another one, as I told you, we have the bioconversion using enzyme. From here, the seafood discard, then we have a lot of part from the fish and fishery products, such as the fin, the head, the scale, the shell, the effluents, the waste, and the bone. All of this we can use the enzyme here to create or to extract the component that we need, such as the collagen, polyunsaturated fatty acid or PUFA here, the astaxanthin, protein. We also got the chitin here. And the bone oligophospholipeptide, which is sometimes that we call biocalcium. So from that, we use the bioconversion to extract the nutrient from the seafood discard. Use the green extraction, and we get all the ingredients, the nutrient here. In the sense, the other nutrient that we can call here is the protein here. Then this is the lipid, right? Or the fat. This is the polysaccharide, carbohydrate, right? And the mineral, mostly calcium and something else. So usually from the seafood discard, then we extract everything using the bioconversion, or even though that we use a conventional, the extraction, we will get the basic of the nutrients such as the protein, the lipid, carbohydrate, and the mineral. So from all of that, how can we apply those into the product development? As you can see here, the seafood discussed and some application for the food product. We can add that into another or like various type of food product, or even though that we can create the supplement for the people who need that. So from here, the bone, the skin, the collar, the head, and the eye, everything from the seafood discard, then we can apply for the food product. So as I provide you guys some of the publication or the research paper, maybe you can follow up with the research paper that I provide you guys. I will talk about the application from the research paper that I provide you guys. The first one, we got the protein concentrate. In this research paper, they use the protein concentrate from fish, and they apply that into the product. Those are cookie, soup powder, and the protein flake. So from here, they add the percentage of the protein concentrate from the 3% to the 10%. As you can see here, it's the result on the sensory evaluation. What it suggests, in some product, if we increase amount of the percentage, it might not be good for the consumer, but it will be good for the product that we got a lot of the protein, right? As you can see here for the cookie, if we add too much the protein concentrate, it might cause the decrease on the appearance rating score, or even though the overall liking score here. For the soup powder, this might look a little bit different. If we add more of the fish protein concentrate, it can cause the liking on the texture higher, the liking on the flavor higher, and the overall liking up until 6%. So higher than 6% might not be good for the soup powder product. And for the flake, fish flake, if we add the protein higher, for the appearance, it's getting higher. For the flavor, it's getting higher. But whereas the overall acceptance is kind of decreasing. So this suggests that you need to select the product that's suitable for those nutrients that you want to add. So this is the first one that I would like to share with you guys. And another one, this is the one that they create the fish protein gel, but before that, they extract the fish protein isolate first. So when they do the extraction, from here that you can see, they use the isoelectric precipitation. Then they get the fish protein isolate here. And after that, they try to do or create the fish protein gel using the salt substitute. They add the PUFA, they add all the gelling agent here and also the flavor. So they can get the fish protein gel. The good of this one, they can reduce the sodium and increase the potassium. So this is good for the people who looking for the food that, let's say, if they have the problem with the kidney. So this is kind of functional product that good for them. So this is another one. And another one, this is not really the product. It's the extraction to create the udon here. The udon here, it is the protein-based gel only. So they extract the gelatin from the fish scale here. And then they create the gel. Only the gel here from the fish scale in the first place, it's not very strong texture. Then they improve the texture property of this udon to add like what? They have pectin. They add the alginate here, or they add the CMC here too, to make the texturization or to make the texture of this udon more stronger, or the size of the pore here can be smaller, and then it can cause the texturize to be the stronger and more. It's good for the consumer. So this is another one. And the next one, we have the marshmallow. Who would think that the seafood discard can be the ingredient for the marshmallow? Mostly for the marshmallow, for the commercial, usually we use the bovine gelatin or the cow gelatin, right? But in this research, they use the fish gelatin, and they compare the consumer acceptance with the purchase intention. For the overall liking, as you can see here, in the statistic analysis, the significant is show that the marshmallow using the fish gelatin and the bovine gelatin, it's not significant. As you can see the letter here, even though the bovine gelatin possess like the higher score here, but statistically it's not significant. So you can see here, when we use the bovine gelatin compared to the fish gelatin, the overall liking, the color, aroma, texture, taste, the sweetness, and the aftertaste is kind of close to each other. So I would think that if we need to substitute the bovine gelatin, so we can use the fish gelatin instead. And also bovine gelatin and the fish gelatin for the gelatin from fish. As you may know, it can provide you more of the functional, nutritional to the consumer. So this is another one that I would like to share with you. The next one, we use the fish bone, and we use that to substitute the wheat flour in the cashew nut cookie. So the point here, why do we use the fish bone? The point is we use that to increase the calcium content. So from the start that we have the control, which is no fish bone, then we increase from the 10%, 20%, 30%, and the 40%. As you can see, for the fish bone only, we analyze everything here, right? The physical property, the chemical property, and some of the WI. Then we add the fish bone here. When we add it here, it can cause the change in the product. As you can see here, the significant happen from the color parameter, the lightness, the L star color, the B star color, and the water activity. And also for the texture property, if we add more of the fish bone or the calcium, it can cause the increase of the hardness, while the flexibility is decreased. This is happen because the fish bone can absorb more moisture, so it can cause the hardness to be higher, while the flexibility is going down. And for the sensory evaluation, the sensory characteristic of the cashew nut cookie with the addition of the fish bone, the night tilapia. You can see here the one without the fish bone here, and we add it like higher from the 10% to 40% here. You can see here the result is kind of similar to the one that developed of the cookie using the fish protein concentrate. We can add anything like up to some point, and it will increase at some point. After that, if we add more, or too much, it might be decreased. You can see here for the appearance, if we add the fish bone here up to 30%, after that, the rating score will decrease. And here happen the same direction. For the flavor, we can add it up to 10% only. After that, it will decrease, right? For the taste, let's see how much can we add. Only percent, 10%. After that, it will decrease. For the texture, it decreased from here. So it suggests that if we add more of the fish bone, it will cause the decreasing on the rating score of the consumer in the texture attribute. Let's see the overall liking. So we can add that only 10%. So what does this suggest? As I told you, anything that it has its own point. You can add anything as much as you like, but anyway, you need to concern like how much do you want to add. If you add it too much, it can cause the decreasing of the liking on the consumer acceptance, even though it has a lot of nutrient in there. So that's the example that I would like to share with you. So from that, what do you think? Why do we need to add anything in the product? I mean, from the fish and fishery product, and we got the seafoods, the discards, right? And why do we need to add those into any variety of the product? In the sense that in the market, there are consumer needs and the product market that we need to look out for. The thing is, most of the consumer are looking for the product property that they like and the nutritional value that they're looking for to add to themselves. So in those 2 points, it's kind of advantage of the addition of the seafood discard. For the product properties, mostly that people or like the company, they want to use or they want to add everything from the seafood discard to improve the product properties. From the physical properties, chemical properties, textural properties, and the sensory qualities. All of these happen when we add the seafood discard extract. And since you see here the physical properties, the chemical properties, and the textural properties, all of these, usually it will affect the sensory quality as a consumer acceptance. So that is one point. And another point, as you may know, usually that we add that to increase the nutritional value. This is the example when we add the fish bone, the Nile tilapia. Let's say if we don't have, we don't add the fish bone, the protein, the fat, the fiber, the mineral, and the carbohydrate. It's at some point. If we add more, the protein will increase, the fat will increase, the fiber also increase, mineral should be increased, right? Because the fish bone is calcium, while the carbohydrate, it decreased. So this is the point that we should look out for when we use the seafood discard for the product properties and the nutritional value. So other than that, what do we use the seafood discard for other purpose? But this is the big market for the seafood discard too. The major seafood derived industrial component and the nutraceutical. So we use the seafood discard that we extract, such as the protein here, the lipid, mineral, and also the polysaccharide. Then we use all of them to create the supplement capsule From here that we nitrogen, we get the protein, gelatin, collagen, right? Bioactive peptide, and also we have some enzyme too. And the lipid base, then we have, mostly we have like carotenoid, astaxanthin, or we can use the PUFA oil too. What else for the mineral base? As I told you in the first, usually we get the chitin and calcium from the seafood discard, right? And we can do, we can digest that into what do we call biocalcium, which is very easy to absorb in the human body. And the last one, the polysaccharide base. Then we get the calcium here. So for those, we can use that as a supplementary. Like here we have the fish protein isolate, right? And we also have, but this is from the krill, like the shrimp head oil. And we also have the omega-3 here. What else that we have? We have the collagen. We have the fish gelatin powder. We have the chitosan extract here. And also we have the biocalcium from the fish bone. And this is all the supplementary that we use, I mean, from the seafood discard that we create. So that is the present situation. So we have the seafood discard, right? Then we extract everything. Then we got the protein. We got the polysaccharide. We got the lipid, and we got the mineral. Then we can apply those into food product that we want to improve in the sense of improvement in product properties or the nutritional value. Other than that, then we use the seafood discard extract to make the supplementary for the people who need it or people who have a special need. So that in the present situation, in my point of view, there is some further of exploration since we know everything, like the component of seafood discard or the seafood that we analyze, like from the protein, the lipid, the polysaccharide, and the mineral, or the component that we know, the ratio, everything. There is some people in the world that have some allergy to the fish and fishery product. Then we can use the knowledge from that to do something that we call the analog seafood. Nowadays that they have the analog meat already, right? And this is the another alternative for the consumer that cannot eat fish and fishery product. Then we can use the knowledge that we have, the component that we know to comply all the ingredients to create the analog seafood to serve the consumer that cannot eat the seafood or have some allergy or very strong allergy to the seafood. In the market right now, we have the tuna, I mean the fish chunk already. We have the fish fillet. We have the caviar. We have also the fish finger. even though in the Japanese restaurant, some of the place that they use this brand, Ahimi and Unami, instead of use real tuna and real eel. And also for the shrimp, we can use the seaweed to create the analog seafood. So this is the company that right now they develop the analog seafood to use the knowledge that they got from extract everything, then they know that what do they have in the seafood, then they comply the nutrient that they got to create the analog seafood. So this is all the point that I want to share with you guys today. So if you guys have some more point or the questions that I can answer to you, that I'm very glad to happy to answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, Achan Rajnibhas. So to briefly conclude the presentation, fisheries capture and aquaculture production is increasing throughout the year. With the increasing of fish utilization, fish waste also increasing. This waste can be used and investigated further for the product development, including food products and the extraction of various biocompounds. However, in its utilization, we have to consider the amount of these biocompounds, as different amount of these biocompounds used in product development will lead to different qualities of the products. And now we are in the Q&A session. I also would like to remind and suggest the student to take notes on the presentation, as you have to write a resume of the lecture and provide it with a screenshot image of your attendance at the attendance link that will be provided at the end of the lecture. So by looking at the message box, we have some questions for Achan. However, before we start for the written questions, I would like to ask for some participation from the lecturer in the Fisheries Product Technology Department for any suggestion or question for our guest lecturer. So here we have Mrs. Effie, Dr. Emma, Mr. Ruski, Mrs. Iis, and Miss Aulia.
Okay. Okay.
For Mrs. Emma.
Okay. Okay. Hello, Prof.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Yes. Okay. It's very interesting lecture, and actually now I work with Chai Tosan from a crab shell. And then work in gelatin from freshwater fish like we called here lele, what we call it, lele, catfish. Yes, catfish. Catfish, and then what is it? Patin. Yes. So I want to ask you about how the sustainable innovation actually in Thailand to make a lot of product of based on fishery. This number one. I want to ask you about your experiences in the Thailand, and number two, I want as about you, I look that you make the supplement, okay? The supplement, commercial supplement based on fish, okay? How about the preclinic and clinical trial, Prof? Before we make the supplement. I look at the like chitosan, and then what is it? Krill, okay, krill, chitosan, and etc. And how about the what is it? The preclinic test or clinic test, because it's supplement from human, all right? To confirm but that person, okay. Yes, the two question from me. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. The first one about the
sustainable innovation.
Well,
sustainable.
I mean, in Thailand
yes.
right now.
No, in Thailand. So we in sustainable innovation based on the product of fishery. How about your suggestion? Because if we produce a lot of product based on fish or waste of fish, so we must concern about the environment because the what is it, chemical, and then the others. And how about in Thailand?
Well, in Thailand right now, actually
in your place, yes, in your place,
we have a lot of like big company that they are very concerned about the environment. So mostly they have like limitation of the the capture. So they have the limit to do like the area that they limit of the capture. So every company, they have their own area, and they own like the what do you call the contract. Every the what do you call the fish? No, the fishery.
Yes.
I mean the fishery people. the one that who go out and catch the seafood for you. Everyone have to sign the contract that you can go only this area. You cannot go further. And there is the time, like you can go in this area only like 3 months, then you have to come back. And you have to rest. I mean, take a break like 2 months. Then after that, you can go back. So that is the sustainability right now.
Okay.
And
yes.
For another one, the question on the supplementary, the clinical trial. Usually in the research, we have the clinical trial have to include in your proposal when let's say you have some collaboration with the company. And the company will ask you like how far that you guys want to go, or I mean even for myself, I have to ask them to like how far, like do you want to go, do you want to do just only to see the cell the cell trial, or you want to see the like the animal trial, or you want to go further to the human trial. So we have the regulation for the research here in Thailand. But it depends, like how far would you like to go?
Okay. So I hope we can collaborate next future, okay, Prof, to make the collaboration research and publication, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you for Dr. Emma for the questions and for Achan for the answers. For other lecturer, okay. Okay, for Mr. Rizky.
Okay, thank you, Gary, for the time, and thank you, Professor, for the very insightful lecture.
Thank you.
I would like to inquire 3 questions from you. The number one is oftenly the product from the fish waste based product have several issues such as its aroma and its color. The aroma perhaps it's still a bit fishy, and the color perhaps it will turn brownish or darker. Now, how according to your experience, how to solve those problems in your research? That is the first question. Number 2 is on your slide. I saw that there are marshmallow from the fish waste, from gelatin, from fish gelatin. What type of fish is best according to you to make those gelatin based product? Perhaps except aside from sharks and rays. The last question is about regarding the absorption of calcium or minerals from the fish bones. According to your knowledge, how well does it absorb to our body, human body? Is it far more superior than the terrestrial one, or is it the same, the absorption rate of those minerals? I think that's my question. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Let's see. For the first one that we on the fish waste, like the application on the product. For the aroma and the color, usually for the aroma, it can cause the fishy aroma, right? But anyway, we can remove that, or we can like decrease that using the carbon to absorb the aroma before we can do the like the freeze drying to make it like to powder. So it can decrease, but will not go away like 0%. But anyway, if we use that as an ingredient in the food product, then we can use some application in the sense of product development. They have the thing called mixture design. Then we can use that to cover, or like the mask. We can use it to mask the aroma or the flavor that you don't like. So that is the first one. For the color, I think this is the very hard one. I mean, if you want to do, let's say, more is from the, I think the dark color from like the fish blood or something that have like very fast to oxidize, right? And the first thing that we need to do, it's very hard because we need to do the chemical way to slow the oxidation rate. And that is the point that maybe I will take that into my consideration for the my next research too. This is a very interesting one. So sorry that I might not have the right answer for you, but this is the one that we need to explore further. And another one, for the gelatin. In my point of view, I think any kind of fish, or I mean the fish skin, the ocean fish skin can be suitable to provide you the right amount of the right type of the gelatin to create the right texture for the product. I mean, not just only marshmallow, it can go further to like maybe you can use that in something more like confectionery, jam, candy, jello, something like that too. So that is the second question. And for the calcium one, for the absorption, I think only like the raw calcium from the fish bone, the rate of absorption, it's very difficult to absorb. So there is some of the professors here, they have some research on the calcium. So they create or like they try to do more to make the calcium easy to absorb. And they call that biocalcium to make it the molecule. The chain is smaller, so it's very easy to absorb. I mean, not like right away, but it's increase the absorption rate in the human body. So that is like the one that we do here. I mean, at the of Songkhla University.
Okay, thank you for the answers, Professor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Rizky for the questions. And now we are going to look at the written questions. So we are going to hear first from Fahri Maula and Fahri about the questions. Okay.
Okay. Good morning. Hello, Professor. Thanks for insightful material and experience. I'm Fahri, undergraduate student from Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science. I have one question that makes me so excited about this. In order to improve our product properties, as you have been said before, we can improve the physical properties such as color aspect, right? But there are some party who add color aspect using an illegal or dangerous artificial food coloring. And do you think there are any other option for us to improve color aspect or other physical properties for our product? Maybe that's all, Professor. Thank you. Hope you always healthy and pass the day with happiness.
Okay. So the point is the improvement of the color, right? So which direction that you want to improve, like to make it darker or to make it like less darker?
Maybe it make more darker than before, Professor. Because sorry, Prof, some party adds illegal material or maybe dangerous material to improve color aspect. And do you think there are any other option for us to improve color aspect, to maybe to make it more darker or anything?
Okay, so to make it more darker, like mostly it happened through the Maillard reaction, right? Or the caramelization. So the thing is, you need to add more something like polysaccharide, carbohydrate. So after the processing, it will cause the browning color. So it will give you like maybe not like very dark color, but the color will change more the let's say the L star value, like lightness will decrease. I don't know like to what to what like to where that you want, but it will decrease. And maybe you need to explore like more, like how many percent that you want to add those polysaccharide, like maybe 10%, 20%, or 30% to make the product, or like, you know, the thing that you want to decrease the color. So I think that that is the point that maybe you look for like type of polysaccharide or the carbohydrate or the sugar that can help to decrease the color or make color darker.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Fahri, for the questions. So for now, let's move to the written questions. The first one from Talita. The question is, what do you think are the problems and obstacles in the utilization of the waste of fishery product, especially in Asian countries?
The problem? Well, I mean, in my point of view, the problem is now that we use what do you call for the waste, we don't really have the research that approach to these I mean to those seafood discard very much. So the mostly is we need to explore more to the component or like the nutritional value of those seafood discard, and provide the knowledge to maybe company, to the maybe the fishery people to know that oh, these then have more potential, then you can use that to do the value added product, not just like, oh, this is just a waste, then no use, then we can throw that away. So that the problem is that the research and the knowledge that we don't reach the point that people that they concern a lot.
Okay, thank you for the answer. For the next question. However, before we look for the answers for the questions, I would like to remind that the attendance link will be closed at 11:45 a.m. Okay, so now let's go back to the questions from Imam, Universitas Pajajaran. What is your views on plant-based fish and flesh alternatives? It is a growing technology, and I can see that eventually it will be close or maybe the same with the real one. Would people finally switch and stop consuming actual fish and flesh, considering the resource needed to fill the demand and nutritional facts?
Well, I mean, in my point of view, I mean, even though like I still want to consume, I mean, I still want to eat like the real thing. But in the future, there are some statistic data that a lot of people, like the young people, the new generation, they have a lot of allergy. The allergy is very increased right now. Then I think that people will switch to the thing that they don't have the allergy, and it fill the demand and nutritional fact that I think in the future further research will produce more of the analog thing, like, you know, now we have the analog needs already, like people that like to eat the thing that do not harm the animal. And in the future, for the analog seafood, I think it can fill the demand and the nutritional fact for the people who have the allergy or the alternative consumer that, you know, let's say vegetarian or the vegan people, which is nowadays the percentage of people who switch to be the vegetarian and the vegan is increased like exponentially.
Okay, thank you for the answers, Achan, and thank you for the questions. And now let's move to the next question. From Wulung Setrayuda, Universitas Pajajaran. Permission to ask, Professor. From the presentation, we can use bioconversion for processing waste from seafood product because it's safer for environment than conventional process. But it is still dangerous for the environment when we use bioconversion too much because it may distract the ecosystem.
Well, for those bioconversion that I introduced to you guys today, they have they use the micro bioconversion, right? And they use the enzyme for the bioconversion. Well, there are so many bioconversion that can be used, but just only 2 examples that I share you guys today. Well, I mean, for the will it be safe for the environment than the conventional? I would say yes, because we don't use like very strong alkali or the strong acid to extract those nutrition from the seafood discard. But will it be dangerous to the environment? Well, I mean, there is not a lot of the research on the effect of those bioconversion very much. So maybe you can do the research on this one. I mean, to get the knowledge that, well, the bioconversion, will it be dangerous for the environment or not?
Okay, thank you, Achan, for the answers, and thank you for the question. For the next question, from Rizky Kurniawan, Universitas Pajajaran. Is there any other way or alternative way to develop functional food?
The alternative way? I'm not quite sure. Do you mean the other than the bioconversion or?
So for Rizky Kurniawan, maybe you can raise your hand and open your microphone, perhaps to clearly ask the lecturer. Okay, so maybe since this question not that clear, is there any other question from the participants for our guest lecturer? while waiting for the questions from the participant, perhaps I would like to ask our guest lecturer, from your opinion, from your point of view, what will be the trend for the product development on the fisheries product that might be in trend this year and perhaps in the next 1 or 2 years?
Can you repeat? Sorry.
In your opinion, what will be the trend in the fisheries product utilizing waste maybe in the next 1 or 2 years?
In the next 1 or 2 years, I would say mostly they will use the waste as a food ingredient. Like say maybe the one that I just show you guys, right? The fish gelatin, the fish protein, the fish bone, or the biocalcium. So in the next 1 or 2 years, you will see a lot of like, like marshmallow from the fish gelatin, or like, the jello that add fish gelatin, or, some cookie that add biocalcium. Most of these, you will see those in like next 1 or 2 years. But further than that, as I suggest, there will be more the analog seafood, like maybe in the next like five years, you will see a lot of those.
But other than food product, is there any more product that perhaps will be the trend in the next few years, other than supplements?
Well, maybe it will go further on like the non-food product, such as I would say packaging side. They will use that as the to create the biofilm or the bio packaging for food. Or even though right now they have the research on antimicrobial packaging for like fruit, or for the fresh cut fruit, or like for fresh cut meat. They use the polymer infused with some of the chitosan to slow the rate of the microbial growth. So that is like kind of ongoing. It's not like finalized just yet. That's what I would say. It will cross over to the something that will be the non-food product.
Thank you for the answers, Achan. Is there any more questions from the participants for our guest lecturer? Okay, so there's a participant raising her hand.
Okay, good afternoon, Professor. I'm a student from Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science 2021. And actually, I know nothing about fisheries because my major is marine tourism. So there's a lot of curiosity in my head. Based on your presentation before, there's a lot of components in fish body. And how company considering which component it is? Are there a tool or a machine about that? And does the company need a quite long time to considering which component it is? That's all, maybe from me. Thank you so much.
You mean the analysis of those companies, right? I mean, analysis of those components, right? Actually, as maybe I mentioned before, some of the research that are going on right now, there is a lot of the collaboration between university and the company. So most of the company, they will ask the university research unit, like maybe analyze some of the components for them. So that is the point that the company get all the information. And I mean, it go both way, like the researcher or like myself get the data, and also the company also get the data to go further on the, like product development.
Okay, is it enough for
Yes. Not sure if I cover every question that you asked. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for the questions. Looking at the time, with that answer from our guest lecturer, it also concludes the first lecture of the product development technology course by our guest lecturer, Assistant Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai, Ph.D. from Chiang University, Thailand. Thank you for your presentation, Khop Khun Kap Achan. And hopefully,
thank you very much for inviting me.
And hopefully it gives us more knowledge and understanding on the utilization of fishery product, especially its waste for product development. And I would like to remind the student to write your resume, provide your screenshot image, and fill the attendance link before 11:45 a.m. As the moderator, I would like to deliver my gratitude for the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, Universitas Pajajaran, Vice Dean Dr. Rita Rostika, International Unit of Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences, and all participants. I also would like to apologize if there were any inconveniences occurred during the lecture. Since we finished with the lecture, let's hear again from our MC, Miss Diana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gary. And thank you for all of the participants, especially for Miss Emma and Mr. Ruski. Also for those who asked questions and were active in the discussion session based on the material that was given earlier. Moving on to our next agenda, we will give our appreciation to our speaker by handling the certificate. To the operator, please display the certificate in this method. The certificate will be handed virtually. Okay, first of all, we would like to give the certificate to our first speaker, Assistant Professor Rajnibhas Sukeaw Samakradhamrongthai, Ph.D. Okay, I will lead the documentation session. For the operator, on my command. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
Always stay healthy.
Thank you. You do the same.
Okay, for the next, we will also be giving the certificate to Mr. Gary, who led the sharing session as the moderator. For the operator, on my command. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much again for the speakers and moderator, Professor, and also Mr. Gary for attending this webinar. Hopefully, the knowledge that has been given will be useful for all of us. Before moving on to the next agenda, we will carry out a photo session. 3-4, we request all participants to active your cameras and give yourself a big smile. I'll give you some minutes for you to get ready to take the photos. Okay, be ready. Once again, to all participants, please turn on your camera. So when I take the picture, you will be ready. Okay, here we go. On 3, 2, 1. Okay, on the second slide. In 3, 2, 1. Moving on to the third slide. It seems like there is no person that is turned on his or her camera on the third slide and so on. So we will moving on to the next agenda. I would like to for you all the participants to fill in the attendance that has been distributed in the chat box below, so that later the certificate will be easier to give to the participant who have participated in this event until the end. Don't forget also to submit your resume for the students and also the screenshot of yourself in this Zoom meeting. We finally reached the end of the event. Thank you so much to the participants who have attended this webinar until the end with such enthusiasm. Once again, thank you for your participation in this webinar event. Hopefully, the knowledge gained will be helpful in the present and the future. I am Dian, as the MC. For the deepest of my heart, I do apologize if there are any mistakes during the event. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Prof. Rajnibhas. Thank you very much. And oke, terima kasih Kang Gary, makasih semuanya. Izin live ya. Assalamualaikum.
Indonesia, negara kepulauan terbesar di dunia, dengan 2/3 luas wilayahnya adalah laut, memiliki 17.000 lebih pulau dengan panjang garis pantai sepanjang 81.000 km. Tak pelak, Indonesia memiliki potensi kekayaan sumber daya laut yang luar biasa, khususnya di sektor perikanan. Minimnya sumber daya manusia yang mengelola potensi tersebut menjadi tantangan tersendiri bagi perguruan tinggi dalam melahirkan tenaga ahli yang kompeten. Universitas Padjadjaran, salah satu perguruan tinggi di Jawa Barat, hadir menjawab tantangan tersebut dengan mendirikan Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan.
Sejak tahun 1965, Universitas Padjadjaran telah menyelenggarakan pendidikan tinggi dalam bidang ilmu perikanan. Kemudian pada tanggal 7 Juli 2005, melalui surat keputusan rektor, berdiri Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan Universitas Padjadjaran. Berdirinya fakultas ini merupakan respon dari keinginan masyarakat, khususnya masyarakat Jawa Barat, untuk dapat menghasilkan tenaga ahli atau sumber daya manusia yang kompeten yang dapat mengelola sumber daya laut dan perikanan. Saat ini kami diberi amanah untuk menjadi pengelola di Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan Universitas Padjadjaran. Menghadapi revolusi industri 4.0 dengan tantangan yang semakin besar, institusi pendidikan dewasa ini dituntut untuk memiliki kegesitan dan fleksibilitas. Kami berkomitmen untuk menjadikan fakultas ini menjadi fakultas yang unggul dan berdaya saing internasional. Kami akan berusaha untuk menghasilkan para lulusan yang memiliki skills abad 21, para lulusan yang mampu berkomunikasi secara global, para lulusan yang memiliki karakter yang jujur dan berintegritas, para lulusan yang mudah bekerja sama, para lulusan yang memiliki etos kerja yang tinggi, serta para lulusan yang mudah beradaptasi. Dengan kurikulum transformatif, kami yakin dapat menghasilkan para sarjana yang mampu menjadi pemimpin global masa depan dalam bidang perikanan dan kelautan.
Fakultas Perikanan dan Ilmu Kelautan Universitas Padjadjaran membuka 4 program sarjana dan 2 program magister. Untuk program sarjana, ada program studi perikanan, program studi ilmu kelautan, dan program studi perikanan kelas Pangandaran. Untuk program sarjana terapan, ada program studi pariwisata bahari. Dan untuk program magister, ada Magister Konservasi Laut dan Magister Ilmu Perikanan.